lost a lot of good people to that shit, and I just think if you're involved with it, get disinvolved with it, because you're just going to get busted or you're going to get sick and die. So that's all I got to say about that. But yeah, I've had those nights where you come in and you piss in your suitcase. Have you ever done that? That's fun. You're out on the road. You partied with the promoters and everybody. You're drunk and shit. You walk in. You lift open your suitcase thinking it's the toilet lid. And then you wake up next day to put something on, you go, oh, fuck, oh! Hey, who pissed on my clothes? They go, you did, man, don't you remember? Don't you remember when you pissed on your clothes? I was like, no, I can't remember that. Because I think if I could have remembered it, I would have fucking done it. So I must have been pretty adamant to take a fucking piss on my clothes. Wouldn't you say? But I want to thank you guys for letting me do it. Thank you. I want to thank you for letting me be the home entertainment center last night. How many people did I actually show my dick to? Do you remember?
What's your credit card debt balance? If it's $10,000 or more, here are 3 easy solutions you can start implementing today. And
if you're thinking of going back to school to get a new job so you can earn more, don't do it.
If it's really funny, you can't help it.
Laughter cannot be forced. You can't force me. You can't pull down ingredients out of me to make me laugh.
The best comedy is when you can relieve pressure that is built up about something that, you know, is sad, and then you turn it around and make it happy.
Well, you'll find that laughter is something people need, especially in times of trouble and depression. In the times of depressions, financial depressions, or any kind of depressions, comedy is an escape. Comedy relief, you know, that's what it's called. And people need relief in different areas. A lot of people go home and they buy their pint at the liquor store, go home and have a few shots, they're getting their relief. But if you can make someone laugh, you know, it can even, how about girls? Even girls, you can fall in love with someone if you make them feel making you happy and if you're laughing.
I think Sam was a cathartic thing. When you saw him, it really, it touched on that anger that we all hold, and he gave us an outlet for it.
I've never been one to think that comedians act as sort of cathartic conduits for the general populace. I think there's a prime directive, and that's to get laughs.
I think you're probably looking way too deep. You laugh because it's funny. I mean, there's no other. It strikes something in you, or you laugh because it's ironic, or you laugh because you relate to it. But ultimately, you laugh because it's funny. I mean, let's be honest. You go out in the street and there are people screaming like Sam, and I'll tell you that. People go, Tourette's syndrome, or he's got some other problem. You laughed at him because it was funny. Really, that's the whole. If the man was not funny, we wouldn't be talking about it. Ultimately, it was his ability to go serious, boom, funny. I think Sam made us examine our own honesty. Truth is always funnier than fiction. Always is. And I think Sam hit nerves that we were afraid to laugh at.
He was fun to watch. I watched him every night for 13 years. The guy made me laugh every single time.
He opened up his weaknesses. There was nothing hidden him. There was nothing sacred. And in so doing, he made us do that. And we got to laugh at ourselves while we were laughing at him. And I think that's why we laughed and wondered, why are we laughing? Because we was laughing at ourselves.
Why people have to laugh? Because it's in them. It's waiting. It's there. It's like in their gut, you know? And if somebody touches their gut, you know, I prefer to see people bend over, ache. You know, that means to me I did good. And Sam, you did it like that. You made people ache in their stomach. And fuck them if they can't take a joke. You know, or joke them if they can't take a fuck, you know.
I like the idea of Sam Kinison as a cult figure in a time of political correctness. The idea is funny.
Sam Kinison, one night at the Comedy Store, made myself and a good friend of mine, Jeff Cesario, laugh harder than I've ever laughed on the planet Earth. I can literally isolate it as the hardest I've ever laughed. And so when they asked me to do this, I thought, oh, I don't even know if Sam would dig that sort of bullshit. And then I thought, you got to report that story. I just remember him being off on some profane, perverse, post-sacrilegious diatribe There was hardly anybody there, and I was in the audience, and I was losing my breath, and I was pounding the table. I looked at Cesario, and it all hit me, the most pure understanding of comedy I've ever had, that it's the very involuntary nature of it that makes it so desirable. Everything else in your life, even indeed dramatic emotion, seems to be premeditated, or there's some DEFCON system that tells you it's about to come. You stage in from 5 to 4 to 3, but you never know where that big walloping motherfucker crease your skull with a pool cue laugh is coming from. And as I sat there in that moment, I said, I don't think I'll ever laugh this hard again. And I looked at Cesario and I said, is that the hardest you've ever laughed? And he couldn't even breathe. And I said, wow, I think we just entered the sanctum sanctorum.
Check this out. This is dark. This is it. He goes, Sam, when did we hit the bottom? This interesting sense of humor of yours. This is it. This is ground level, folks. This is the 7th level of granite rock right here. We fucking touched it. I read the paper. They said that a group of homosexual necrophiliacs had been going around to mortuaries offering them money to let them come in at night, spend a couple hours undisturbed with the freshest male corpse. I wasn't trying to sell this as a fucking home game, all right? It's a story I read, folks. Jesus Christ, give me a chance to do some journalistic reporting here, will ya? I felt the same way. I read this thing and went, oh, thanks for the visual! Hey, I felt sorry for these corpses, man. I mean, you think death would be bad enough, wouldn't you? I mean, the one thing that scares the shit out of everybody is death. You don't want to think about it. You don't joke about it. You put it out of your mind. But you figure if you faced it, that's it. What could be worse than fucking death? You figure I got past death. I mean, you hated it, but at least you lived through it. You know, you got by it and all that shit. I felt sorry for these corpses because I know these guys were laying out on slabs. They're going, well, life was tough, and that was pretty hard to live up to. But I faced death, and I'm glad I went through it. And well, now I'm ready to spend eternity in heaven, be with Jesus, and rock of ages. Hey, what's that shit? Oh, I don't believe this! There's a guy's dick in my ass! Oh, you mean life keeps fucking you in the ass even after you're dead? Oh, never ends, it never ends! Tragic way, and he just all over his mind. And I told a young man the other night, he's going through a lot of torment, a lot of oppression because he lost a brother in a tragic way, and he just all over his mind, and he's just living in such a guilt. And I said, let me tell you something. If this brother could tell you anything, he'd say, enjoy your life, don't worry about me. I'm being taken care of. If there's a burden here, it's for you. This is what the Word said. The Word said, rejoice at it then. Because they're just being swallowed up into the love of God. They've never had it any nicer. There's no reason for sorrow when it comes to death. Because in God there is no death. Jesus said, any man who believes my word, hears my saying, shall not see death. The people of this world scare me a lot more than the one in the next. I think that one's pretty much taken care of. I hope it is. This is the place where everything can go wrong and screw up. I have a feeling like there's a divine order after this life, and things go a lot smoother. Of course, I could be wrong. I could be on a spigot for eternity going, oh, I was wrong.
Sam, even to the end of his life, Sam considered himself a believer. He never felt like that he wasn't a believer. He felt like in his sense that he was still a Christian. And he wasn't perfect, but he felt like nobody was, and that he would just, instead of hiding his stuff, he had it out in the open.
The night of his wedding, he asked me to come and do his cummerbund, which was quite a job, because he gained a little weight, and he had bought this suit. And he said, "Come on, stretch this thing back there." I'm working on it, and in the middle of this, he goes, "I don't know why I'm supposed to tell you this, but I feel to tell you this. Get things right with God." I said, "What?" He said, "Get things right with God." I said, "Sam, I've got things right with God. I think if anybody needs to get it right with God, you got to get it right with God." He goes, "Oh, okay." And he was on his honeymoon. I didn't hear from him. I was happy for him. He was gone. He was vacationing. He was in Hawaii, his favorite spot. And we had a gig to do in Laughlin on Friday. He was married on Monday, and so on Friday, he had a ride back in town and gave me a call early in the morning. So I'll meet you on the road. And I said, fine. Shot out, met up with his brother Bill.
Our last trip, which is actually our first trip to Laughlin, but it was ended up being our last trip. We were driving there, and I was following behind him and Malika in their automobile.
So we took off, and I laid down in the back seat, and I got into one of those dream states where I guess you just start to really float, and I was feeling good and excited about the evening. And I heard Bill in my dream telling Sam to be careful. And to be careful. Watch this guy. Watch this guy.
Young kid had been drinking and in a pickup and was passing as many cars as he could.
And then I heard the most horrible collision of
Avoid using these boring phrases. It's all right. That's interesting.
If you've been in a car accident, don't call an attorney. Use this AI app instead.
Young kid had been drinking and in a pickup and was passing as many cars as he could.
And then I heard the most horrible collision of steel crushing. I heard no brakes. And we skidded up, and I rolled off my seat onto the floor. And everything was in slow motion.
They collided head on.
I got up and saw Sam's car crushed up through the windshield. I opened my sliding door out of the back seat, got out of the car, and with that I saw Bill running next to me up to the car.
They couldn't get the door open to his car. And I remember with all the adrenaline and everything, I told him just to move out of the way. And I jerked this door open, and Sam was inside. And it didn't look like he was hurt. I didn't know he was dying. He had some scratches on his forehead.
Sam was stretched out across the middle of the seat with a minor cut, a little blood out of his mouth. And he looked fine, just he'd been hurt. And the steering wheel was totally gone. Just the column was left. And there's 3 boys in a truck, and their windshields were crushed out. And Bill hit them with, you know what you just did? You ignorant fools. God, you guys were doing 100 miles an hour.
But I remember opening up the door, and he was going, why? Why now? And so I was telling him, don't move. I went around to the other side, and Malika had put her seat back, and I don't know if she was passed out or been knocked unconscious, but I didn't want to move her. I just worried about if she's still alive. And I checked her pulse. It seemed strong. And the kid that hit him was trapped in this truck, and somebody's yelling, there's gas all around the truck. They're afraid it's going to explode. So I went over and I jerked that door open. And I came back, and Carl LeBeau, which was his best friend, was there, and Sam was wanting to get out of the car.
And a beer can was crushed. There's beer cans all over the road from this guy's truck. And a truck was driving by and crushed beer all over. So I said, get the beer out of the road. And with that, Sam came falling out onto my lap, and I fell on my butt. His head was in my arms, and he was talking, and he was looking up to the right, and he was going, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Why now? Why now?
Sam kept repeating that I heard. He kept repeating, why? Why now? Why? Why now?
I said, you're not going to die. And he said, but why now? Oh. Okay. And I felt him leave.
Carl told me that twice he had said, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And then finally 3 times he went, okay. And I don't think anybody that was out there with us or watching it, I don't think anybody could be there and not believe in an afterlife. Not believe that he wasn't communicating with somebody, because he was speaking very clearly. His eyes weren't rolled back. It looked like he was looking at somebody. He just never responded to us.
Sam didn't do anything he didn't want to do. and somebody said the right thing, and Sam heard it, and he left with them. And whenever you get to be, I think, blessed enough to see someone go,
It shouldn't hurt to walk. Since 2015, the Joint Relief Institute has been Chicagoland's most trusted
see, got out of the car, and with that I saw Bill running next to me up to the car.
They couldn't get the door open to his car. It was on his forehead. I just worried about if she's still alive.
I said, you're not going to die. What I want to do.
He out there and helped us handle the death. Is that?
And he left with him. It leaves you a peace in your own heart. And you know the guy lived the full gambit of a great life.
It helped. It helped me handle. And I think probably everybody out there, it helped us handle the death. Is that maybe this was supposed to happen. He wasn't in pain. And it's like he relented to do that. And Malika ended up with a mild concussion, so she ended up all right. But I remember we went to the hospital, and I'd never had trouble speaking. I never stuttered in my life, and I remember having to pick this phone up and first call my what was my wife, then call her and get a bunch of phone numbers, and I couldn't form the words. I was trying to tell her, you know, that Sam's dead. And I remember the next call I had to make was to my mother. And I had told her 4 years before that my youngest brother had just been shot in the head and he had died. And I remember picking up the phone. I'd had a friend go over to the house so she wouldn't be by herself, and I didn't want her to see it on the news. And I remember her answering the phone and very happy.
with his mom and his brother in the car. I told him I was really proud of him. And that was like the first step is like admitting it. The next step is doing something else.
Our whole West Coast is a beach. Okay. There's different beach places that you can go to. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'll reconsider that. I don't know much about Ashley, but since if you say so. So you said May to what?
Between May.
And I feel like that's the reason why people have kind of flocked to this song. You know what I mean? Did I go in the Matrix?
No, that was a great explanation. I like the camera angles. Personally, I thought it was kind of cool. For a minute, I turned on closed captioning to try and understand the words, and then I also gave them too.
But he is actually American, though. If you think about it, Drake.
Really?
His dad was from Memphis. He was a drummer, and then he was touring Canada, and he found this this hot biddy who he wanted to fuck.
Did you say hot biddy?
Yeah. Yeah. He's also Jewish, too. If the rule of thumb applies, his mom was Jewish.
Well, he was born in Canada.
He was born in Canada, yeah, but he was a dual citizen birthright.
Yeah, but we're talking about socialization.
Yeah.
Right. So he socialized in Canada. And this is the whole point as far as, the shit that comes out of Canada, the Caribbean, and in Africa, and people who are moving backward, regardless of whether they have birthright or not, and inserting themselves into American black.
Sam's dead. And I remember the next call I had to make was to my mother. And I had told her 4 years before that my youngest brother had just been shot in the head and he had died. And I remember picking up the phone. I'd had a friend go over to the house so she wouldn't be by herself, and I didn't want her to see it on the news. And I remember her answering the phone and very happy. And I told her, I said, this is going to be the hardest phone call I've ever made to you. And I remember her starting to say, oh no. And I said, yeah, he died in a head-on collision.
I loved his life, and I was blessed to be able to live it out with him.
As big a loss as it was to me as my brother and to my mother as a son, I think even a bigger loss, if it's possible, is to the world of comedy.
If you grow up in a major international city in your country, you do not represent your culture whatsoever. A New Yorker does not represent American culture. Most New Yorkers don't own guns. The vast majority of Americans do. It is, I don't know. I hate people from Dublin, Paris, London, Sydney.
Yeah.
And I'm one of them.
Well, it's crazy. Drake also attended Jewish day school, and he became a bar mitzvah.
Sorry, Pat. What country you dual citizenship to, Dr. Adams?
United States and Panama.
Oh, dope. You should be fairly rich then.
No, I'm definitely not a Kardashian.
No, I just meant with the banking laws. Every single Panamanian that I've met in America, they're pretty well off. Sounds like cool sounding. I forget what the terminology is, but Panamanian. That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's a great country. I recommend everybody go there instead of Mexico. It's much safer.
Better food, too.
I mean, you have pretty much every type of food that you can even imagine. It's crazy. I don't know if anybody's ever had the experience of seeing a Chinese person actually, speak Spanish, and it's crazy.
Dude. It's so jarring when you see that. It's
Indian people speaking Spanish. It's crazy.
¿Cómo estás? It is very jarring when the Asian one really that hit home. Because I went to a Chinese food restaurant in Mexico and in Panama City, and it is wild hearing them speak Spanish.
People accuse LA of having the worst drivers. Panama City, the second that light turns green, people are honking. Like, I mean, it's crazy.
I think Florida drivers are worse than LA drivers.
No. Well, the Florida drivers must be from Panama because, again, they have the absolute worst freaking drivers in Panama City.
Statistically speaking, New Jersey drivers, David, are the worst drivers in America. Highest insurance rates.
Yeah, my cousin just went down there for Thanksgiving, and he rented a car, and I was like, are you crazy? Like, do you have, like, a death wish? Like, no. Like, it's, like, you definitely don't want to be driving as a tourist in Panama.
I think he did the lawsuit after it was announced that Kendrick was going to do the Super Bowl.
Right, yeah, that's when the lawsuit afterwards. I'm not sure, maybe it was in the works, but that's when the news dropped.
Yeah, it was around the same time.
So I'm gonna say this, right? So I feel like because Kendrick is being so fucking salacious or like reckless with these accusations and nothing has come out. I agree there's speculation and whispers, but like you need concrete before you go pause. No pun intended. You need concrete evidence before you call a nigga a pedophile on national. You need to prove it. You need concrete evidence. Oh, don't say that word. You'll get that nigga excited. You want to say that shit 75 more times. Anyway, so the whole point is, I feel karma's coming Kendrick's way because I feel like this is too strong of an accusation. It's doing too much damage that karma's coming his way, yo. You heard it here first. And guess what? I think it already started with the fact that his performance flopped. Thank you. Have a nice.
You wasn't digging that performance concrete?
Bro, I was waiting for it to get live, and it was kind of just mid. Very, very mid. And I'm thinking to myself,
After y'all gave some suggestions, I'm like, oh, if they did it, it's tight. Hold on.
They gotta let me be the stage manager next Super Bowl.
What's so crazy is I'm thinking to myself, they rehearsed this, didn't they?
That's the whole part is all of this is being rehearsed way beforehand, days beforehand, weeks beforehand. Somebody already stamped that for that message to go out. You know how we know someone stamped it before it went out? Is the fact that the man had to change up his lyrics so it could be it could be valued on a commercial scale.
Yeah, that was always going to happen, though.
Mind you, this is a small space. We're talking about a commercial scale in Louisiana. I mean, for real, that's a smaller scale of business, but it still got the same message across. But someone already stamped that. Someone already saw that. People that were in higher place, they were like, yeah, we're going to rock with that. Yeah, we're cool with it. So, I'm just going to say, there wasn't this much energy when Drake was out there dragging the hell out of Meek Mill. No, it wasn't this much energy when Drake was dragging the fuck out of that man.
So he kept it all like this was the Super Bowl. There was nothing.
I don't care if it's the Jesus.
Wait. The World Cup. What did he say about Meek Mill? What did he say about Meek Mill?
No, the Super Bowl has more eyes than the World Cup.
What did he say to Meek Mill?
You're tripping for it. He dragged the hell out of Meek Mill.
What did he say to Meek Mill? He said,
what did he say to Meek Mill? You play second fiddle. Look up the songs, bro. Everybody got the songs, bro.
Lord, give me
they had to do a whole song together.
What did he say to Meek? Okay. What did he say to Meek Mill?
He said, I'm anybody that knows history.
I'm gonna finish.
Anybody that knows history.
I'm actually gonna finish.
Why do you want me to?
So what he said to Meek Mill was
look up yourself,
nothing on. It was nothing compared to this, right? He said you play. I'm gonna finish. You gotta calm down, bro. But yeah, it was nothing on par to call somebody a pedophile. He said he plays second fiddle.
What's it here? Sleep with the wheel again.
Think you're hot like Simone.
Simone's hot like him. Hey, Nathan Knowledge. Check this out.
Simone, you got a hot mic, bro.
No, fourth. Like the viewership.
You right. No, Louis, you finished? Oh, I thought Louis. Nah, you right.
Yeah,
But
I would compare. Yeah, I just posted a link to that as well. I just posted a link.
Yeah, compare this to. Nice, dog. What the fuck? To compare the. Yeah, that's cool. I don't even want to fucking say no more. Nah, go ahead, Louis. Nah, man, just to compare this to him dissing Nicki, Meek is like, I don't think it's the same thing. Calling someone a pedophile, accusing them of pedophilia versus like saying like your girl is more popping than you and whatever. Like, is that a world tour or your girls tour? Like, nothing was like defamatory. So where it's like you're like it's not. Like the essence of a diss record is going to be defamatory in essence in some way or another, but when you're hurling accusations like pedophilia, like it's just not comparable at all.
Look, either way, when we're talking about rap, when we're talking about entertainment, everything is pretty well open and on the books, okay? If we're going to cry about this, we're going to say that it's not a sport anymore. They might as well just go ahead and play flag.
Hip hop is not a sport.
Rap now. I agree. What you said? What's not a sport?
Rap, music is not a sport.
Rap is not a sport.
No,
there's no points. There's no trophy. Or there's
it's not sports.
Yeah.
I hate when niggas say sports.
There's no teams.
It is because there's something called battle rap, which is a sport, right?
But that's different from
battle rap is a different thing, and that's it's competitive rap.
No, King is making a salient.
Funny enough, you need to make a distinction in order to make rap a quote unquote sport.
But
what about battle rap? Yeah, that's distinct.
Battle rap is a sport. Come on, man.
But the thing is,
not a sport. Sure, but not all rap is battle rap.
That's all it is a contest. There it is. It's a contest competition. It's kind of like whoever eats the most hot dogs, like, is that a sport too? Like, no. It's competition.
When it comes to art, yeah, like it is. When it comes to art, like clearly they're seeing the sport at hand. I'm not, but you can keep making claims that are false. What I'm saying is, if we're allowing educators to pick apart battle rap and people that are in that space to utilize for study instruction for younger students, should we look at something further than it being just a sport? It's clearly an art. There's an art form to it, and it can be sold. Clearly, that's what we are seeing happen. I'm not listen. I'm educated. All right, I went through my studies. I'm cool. If someone can say how they feel, but let's not act like the whole beginning of utilizing our words haven't been articulated into us making money. Like, we're on a whole audio app. People can literally make a whole page and get paid off of the portion of someone talking right now. Like, stop playing like it's not some type of form of currency. Like, come on, man. It's an art. It's fucking art. Come on.
You're equating art with sport.
No, you're not equal. They're not equal. Is the point. Bro, come on, man.
That was the most retarded shit I've heard all day.
No, it's not.
Value. Yeah, but bro, come on. Are you like?
As a former athlete, that was very offensive.
As a former
athlete, what they say out there?
Rap is a fucking sport, bro.
There's
no judges. There's no points.
There are judges in rap.
It's all subjective. Athletics is purely objective. There's a winner, there's a loser. It's objective.
I'm an athlete. You play football.
Wait a minute.
You play powder ball.
Wait a minute. We're going to act like rapping is not a sport now. People are...
Like, no one that lives in New York.
Like it's telling, not the Jews, right? But the dude, it was the Jews at the camps in Auschwitz. The Jews were definitely systemically hunted down, especially because they were Jewish. And
that's true. They were real. That was real. Yeah, that was real. I agree. I'm glad we agree.
I think that's overreacting. That I don't. What really happened was more tame than what American media implants in our heads.
Do you think the Holocaust is mostly a myth or overrated?
No.
What are you gonna do about it? Buy more white eyeliner?
I'm gonna bomb Palestinian children. For anytime someone says that the Holocaust is a myth, I just bomb an extra Palestinian child.
Okay, I don't care. You can do that.
Wait a minute. Are you a Trump or Elon fan?
I'm an Elon fan.
You know what would be funny if I knocked out every white person that had a white picture of the Messiah? That would be pretty fucking funny, wouldn't it? My hand would be fucking broken from knocking out all the white people that got a European, that have a fucking European image of the Messiah. There's a lot of fucking things I can deal with, but a nigger ain't one.
Jeez. And also the delusion Jesus was fucking black is
Next level. Always. I mean, it's almost as bad as the Jewish pretension. I mean, it's bad.
Hi, moderators. This is Wisdom. I would like to be in a regulated conversation and address the topic.
Yeah, you're in the queue. You're in the queue. Thanks. Sam, what was your question?
You said, what's the Jewish pretension? What was that?
The Jewish pretension is the Holocaust, the camp.
How many people do you think were killed in the Holocaust?
Oh, we had that discussion. So you know, something that I've taught my children, just as a general rule, that I require them to understand. Anytime someone comes to you and tries to tell you that they've surveyed a population in the middle of a fucking war and correctly ascertained an accurate figure, is full of shit. You know, the same thing with the COVID pandemic. You know, people were hitting all these numbers, this number, that number, this number, that number. And it was like, wow, you people really, really are pretending. You want to believe that you have the ability to collect this kind of specific data. It's insane.
The way they get data is the way they
how many do I wish died? How many do I wish died?
Oh, that's not the great.
How many actually died? That's not a great conversation.
Hi, moderators. If you could put me in the queue since we're not in a regulated conversation, please put me in your queue. Thank you, moderators.
Sit down and shut the fuck up. You're in the queue.
The way they get the numbers is from a mixture of like census data, population declines, the Nazi documentation themselves, the testimony from perpetrators, survival testimonies, like physical evidence. Historians do research, like war crime files, where they like pull out numbers,
Sam, look, I did you a disservice, and I want to rectify that now. I thought I knew you, thought you knew me, but clearly you don't. Welcome to Clubhouse. I'd like to just help you understand something. I'd like to have the conversation with you where we go over all this. Now, were you aware of what the plaque outside of Auschwitz said?
Yes, I'm well aware.
Okay, what did it say? How many did it say?
4, and then it said 2.
Okay, yeah. Now, it seems like you're wrong. You're wrong. Hold on. First of all, you're wrong because it was a bigger discrepancy than that. But you don't seem to have a problem with that.
Yeah, I don't.
You don't think that indicates that there was a willingness. There was a will. So again, when someone tells you who they are, you really should trust that they're telling you the truth. When someone displays a capacity to lie about something to the extent that
the Russians put that number up. The Russians put that number up, and then when historians came and checked the numbers, they revised the numbers because they're like, oh, the Russians exaggerated it. So if you think that Jews are like trying to lie about it, why would they like very publicly be like, oh, we changed the numbers? They were like, hey, the Russians put this number up and they were incorrect. And but don't interrupt me, man. You have no self-control. You're like a child. You just talk over me. You have no self-control. You're like a fucking child.
I love Israel. I love the Jews. I will never let the Jews be harmed. I will protect the Jews. I will love the Jews. I will protect the Jews. Fuck you, Nazi. Fuck you, Nazi. Antifa.
Fuck off.
Hello, moderators. This is Wisdom. I'd like to be put in the queue. Do you have a queue? Thank you very little.
Conversation I wanted to have by mentioning Jewish summer camp. First of all, it was ruach means spirit. It's a happy word, and I think we should have a happy conversation.
Hello, moderators. This is Wisdom. I'd like to be put in your queue to discuss the topic of your room. Please let me know when I am allowed to communicate. Thank you very little.
We're gonna go to Wisdom. Wisdom, what you got?
So, you know, in terms of having actual conversations instead of having insane mental health breakdowns, I would just like to address the topic of your room. I believe, in the PTR of my profile here, it's a book. It's called The Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. The first chapter is about Plato's Republic. And in Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, he addresses Plato's Republic and how some people may choose the Republic over God. And they themselves that do that have their own problem, because the Republic's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect because it's made, man is doing it. And we all know how frail and stupid, obnoxious and retarded our fellow men and women can be. Humans, people. That's the problem primarily. So Plato's Republic is very fragile because our citizens are very fragile. Now, I guess the second point I want to talk about is Elon Musk and Donald Trump, but primarily Donald Trump, because Elon Musk is not the president. Donald Trump is the president. And what Trump says is what he says, meaning that carries more authority than the owner of X and the owner of Tesla, or essentially an employee of those corporations. So, in terms of having faith in who the leader is, I think kind of goes back to simulation theory in a way that if you are a ridiculously stupid, low IQ atheist and you don't study God and you don't think that there is essentially truth and justice in the world, and that Donald Trump, and this is not Trump worship, this is essentially American patriotism and faith, that Trump is the president because probably because of God. Meaning that it is a very special thing to become the president of the biggest business and the biggest, most powerful, badass military on the fucking planet. And Donald Trump is that man. And the collective liberal left and the rhino right are having meltdowns because they themselves are horrific traitors that have depleted our treasury and purged this country into a cultural chaos. And the fact that you can go into the chillism room and listen to fucking N-word, F-words arguing about Drake and Kendrick Lamar's beef, and the fact that we have a total cultural degradation in this country where white pussy cuck liberal F-words are saying that Kendrick Lamar's half-day show was for a certain type of people and it's for them. It's a gift for them. I just see, but then I look at Trump and I see him and Ivanka supervising, their kingdom. And I think that they themselves, could possibly be in disbelief of what they're presiding over. So I would just say that I think your room can have a great purpose, that the communication you make as moderators can be important and effective. But if you go on and on about J words and Z words, and you think that that isn't your inner N word, you need to go look in the mirror and know just how much of an N-word you are if you talk about J words and Z words all day long and you have a dandruff problem. You need to go to the fucking gym, take a hot shower, read a book, and stop with your J word, N word, Z word, whatever, because you're a fucking low IQ monkey if that's all you talk about. Read the fucking Constitution on here. Do some type of effective, useful usage of your time and your power of communication. Don't be irascible like an N-word that you are criticizing.
You okay, bud? Hey, wisdom. Wisdom. I didn't know wisdom was so based. You're an applause. Applause. He's not based. Applause. Start with something. I think that crescendo will be difficult to surpass. Well, so there definitely is an admiration, an affectation, a disposition, a deference, an attitude towards Trump and Elon Musk that approaches worship. I think that's fair to say.
Wait, let me just follow up with one more sentiment. That by reading the Constitution, what that does is everything else you hear that people talk about, which is really just politics, outside of the Constitution, they're literally wasting your time with nonsense hypnosis scams. And we have gone so far away from our root Constitution, and the amount of money we're spending on all this exterior communication and action is a scam. It's a fraud. It's anti-American. It's anti-patriotic. We are living with a bunch of people who are communicating outside of a framework, or essentially, it's like project management, meaning that the Constitution is our main framework for all project management, and all the other political conversations outside of it, no matter what it is, if it's outside of that framework, it is a waste of our collective American time, and we can identify it as being a scam and a fraud against we the people of this country, not in a collective socialist way.
So pause. Okay, so consistent and uniform enforcement of black letter law is the first and foremost responsibility of every public official in any capacity. So, to the extent that the Constitution of the United States is the foundation for that law, this is absolutely correct to assert that the most pressing issue is to enforce the Constitution. Everything else is built on the Constitution. We should go back to the bedrock, to the foundation. But what we're failing to do is to recognize that the pyramid has been inverted. It's supposed to start with us, and it is supposed to be us, we the people, the individuals, acting collectively in our collective communities, and our counties, and in our states that are essentially supposed to have worked outwards. We should not be looking at the federal government to interpret the Constitution. The Constitution exists to restrict the federal government. So they're not going to police themselves. They're not going to hold themselves accountable. It is ultimately we that have to agree what the limitations on the government are supposed to be. We have a set of limitations that are placed on the government in the Constitution, and we have not held them accountable thereby. Now, we have elected officials. We have delegated the authority and the responsibility to officials in our communities, in our counties, and in our states. And they have not held the federal government accountable. So it is absolutely commensurate with the responsibility to read, understand, and return to the Constitution, to some meaningful accountability and binding of the federal government, that we understand who, what, when, where, why, and how we are hurting ourselves to continue supporting the worship of people like Trump. Trump is not concerned with black letter law. He's not concerned. He now is the manifestation of the federal government, and at the height of its power. He's not going to be the one to hold himself accountable. He's not going to hold the federal government accountable. He's going to work, as all federal agents must, to continue to erode any kind of restriction on the power of the federal government. So,
the mind of a child, Diogenes.
Did I hurt your feelings, Sam?
You're an idiot.
You sound just like my dad.
I'm glad. Like, do you not see how it's inappropriate to cut someone off while they're talking? Do you not see how that's like an inappropriate thing?
Oh, this is his room.
If you were talking to you're calling me, you're saying I have the mind of a child, but it's like,
yes, he's
as a parent and an adult, when a child is talking to me and a child clearly doesn't have a plot, or they're just begging for scraps, I'm just going to interrupt them.
Yeah, but you have the mind of a child. That's the asymmetry here. I'm not the child here. You are lower IQ than me. That's the difference.
I'm sorry, but you are wearing a romper.
I'm not wearing a romper right now.
What? Sam, you're wearing a romper. What is going on here?
Your mother gave it to me. It was a nice gift.
Oh, that's cute. Hey, do you like Trump and Elon though? I like Elon.
I'm Sam. Kamala, bitch.
Okay. So do you think that the Constitution, the constitutional republic, the democratic republic, what do you think about America? How do you think we should be governed, Sam?
Trump.
I mean, I basically believe that like what we've been doing is like pretty good. We need to like make some changes, but like the fact that we're the most powerful country on earth suggests we're doing something right. And so like when you're at the peak of something, it means you should probably continue doing the thing. If we were like much further behind other countries, that would be more sort of warrants for doing something different.
Moderators, please take action and kick Summer to the goo where that thing belongs.
Keep your personal
conflicts from interrupting the flow of conversation. Sam was speaking. If Summer would like to have something to say about how she dislikes Trump. Hey, Summer, welcome to the Elon and Trump worship room. Did you want to speak? You don't like Trump? Do you like Kamala Harris?
He was trying to tell y'all how we feel about Trump.
Okay. Do you like Kamala Harris?
Support her, Black Queen. Yes.
You support her, okay. And now, do you think that Kamala Harris would be a better administrator of the Constitution than Donald Trump?
Yeah.
Tell me one of her policies.
Where'd she go?
Thank God.
Not me.
I hate people like that. I bet you she cannot even tell you one of Kamala's policies.
No, I mean, you don't have to.
The point I was making is that when you're the most powerful country on earth, it means you're doing something right, and the status quo is more justified. Whereas when you're not the most powerful country on earth, it means you should change more things up and do more experiments.
Okay, so is that might makes right?
No, it's success. And if you're doing something successfully, you should keep doing it until you're proven that it's unsuccessful.
Well, you didn't talk. You said powerful. You seem to imply something about our strength, our might.
I mean, our GDP, like our cultural influence,
do you think that has been achieved through the rigorous, uniform, and consistent enforcement of the law, or have there been, has there been some slippage?
I don't think.
So what's more important, Sam? Sam, what's more important? The consistent and uniform enforcement of the law, black letter law as a tool to establish civilizations that generate energy surpluses, or might, power, GDP? What's more important?
Wait, I think neither of those things are like what explains like American success. Like I agree.
I'm just asking you a question. Which one?
Between those two, which is more important? I would say like might is more important than like following the letter of the law. But like what explains American might is like things like education or economic system, like
Sam,
innovation.
You're being consistent to say that you believe that being mighty and powerful is more important than following the law, right? Because that is Trump's position. Absolutely, essentially, that is the position of the current iteration of the so-called conservative movement. That really the most important thing is that we're strong and we're going to continue to be strong. And really the law, if it doesn't allow us to be as strong as we need to be, is a perturbance. It's an obstacle to be overcome.
Every country's acted on that since the 20th century.
You're switching between a normative and descriptive kind of power. I was saying like, listen, I am trying to explain American success, and you asked me what explained the success. That's a descriptive claim.
I'm not asking you. I never asked you, my friend. I never asked you, my friend. I never asked you, my friend. I never asked you to tell me why America was successful.
Bad norms.
Never asked you to tell me why the United States of America is successful.
But might gets us in a lot of places. Okay, think about our might though. We're the reason why Japan. If it wasn't for our might with Commodore Perry bullying Japan, we are responsible for Japan's success today. If you want to be honest about it, that's one goal. That's one explanation.
Well, hold on.
That's also
let's not muddy the waters here. Sam is helping me make the point that I want to make through the Elon and Trump worship conversation, which is you really need to make a foundational philosophical choice before you set out on the road to worship one of these individuals, and it's going to lead you to a mutually exclusive place.
Can I explain why I like Elon without being interrupted? I have that.
No, I'm not. I mean, when I'm done talking, so what has to be established, this foundational philosophical element, is a conception of what the law is, what the law should be, and why we have the law. And I'm arguing that the law is a conceptual tool that is tremendously valuable, and that it is is progenerated by religion. That religion is kind of the first conception of the law.
And it contains within it an authority. It's a necessary component of the law. It is an enforcement element. Now, ultimately, there's going to be conflict. We're going to have conflicts, right? And one of the ways you can try to solve the conflict is to say, well, I'm going to be bigger and stronger than everyone else I ever get into conflict with. And I'm going to work with other people to make sure that we're always bigger and stronger than everyone we get into conflict with. Okay? What happens when you have an internal conflict? How do we adjudicate these things, right? And well, it was established that, essentially in order to get the people to act in concert with one another, there has to be a certain understanding. And oftentimes it's useful to have that explicated in the law. We have an arbiter, we have a moderator, we have a tool to establish what is fair, and it requires an agreement that we will agree to be moderated by this arbiter, that we will allow this law to govern us. Now, Sam, you're saying you don't believe that we should enter into any kind of agreement. There should be no overarching structure, there should be no contract, there should be no law that is consistent and uniformly enforced, because that's limiting.
When did I say that? I didn't say that. Okay. The reason why I like Elon is because AI risk is a problem and he cares about that. Going to Mars is a good thing. Neuralink is a good thing because it's good for us to be sort of integrated with our technology. It's good to have electric cars. It's good to have more freedom of speech on Twitter. It's good to have less funding to the federal these bloated programs. Those are why I like him. Not because of any ideas about actually what I care about is might more than about rule of law. I care about specific technological things he's doing and certain legal maneuvers he's making.
But if he violated the law in pursuit of those objectives, you would believe that he was acting correctly and you would continue to support him.
It would be a cost-benefit analysis of how big the law violation was.
Right. So again, so is it fair then? Is it fair then to say that you don't believe in the consistent and uniform enforcement of the law, and what you believe in is instead a cost-benefit analysis where sometimes you conclude that the law is better left subverted?
Yeah, I do think that.
Okay. All right. So I'm not putting words in your mouth to have concluded that you do not believe in the consistent and uniform enforcement of the law.
Is the law the most important?
And you think that there is a higher? You think that there is a high? Well, it's not necessarily me, because I think every single one of us, if given the choice, would want to rule as the God Emperor of their fiefdom. We live in a zero-sum reality to the extent that I've been able to observe it. I think most would agree with me.
Would you break the law to save 100,000 people? Would you get a jaywalking ticket to save 100,000 people?
So again, the law absolutely already makes allowances for these idiotic hypotheses people seem to concern yourselves with, this idea that, well, what if what if hypothetically there was a law that said you're not allowed to pull the lever, but if you pulled the lever, you would save 10,000 people? Okay, that kind of needless pedantry is unhelpful. Ultimately, there is already an established doctrine. These laws, Joe, I really don't appreciate you saying that I sound like a Jew, because it was really against my will that I was created in the first place. So if I was a Jew, it wasn't because I wanted to be a Jew, all right? So that's not very nice. Let's think about those things, okay? Let's think about that, all right? Because that's insulting to me. I'm insulted that you would say that I sound like a Jew, all right? Sam sounds like a Jew. Sam sounds like a Jew. Not me.
There's more important things in the law. The flourishing of human beings is more important than the law. The law is just a thing we keep up with pragmatically to achieve flourishing, and it's not the end in itself. It's a thing that we pragmatically create to create flourishing. But what matters is human flourishing, not the law itself.
Right. So you conceive of a reality where the law is not an essential element to our flourishing, but so whatever leads to the greatest amount of flourishing is supreme. Yes.
Well, that's true. I do believe that.
Right, and if that means that others have to not flourish, that's okay.
That that's like a contradiction in terms. I talked about the human.
Well, I mean, if you're going to hold on a second. You're going to maximize flourishing. That doesn't mean everyone flourishes. I mean, do you think that we're going to be able to create heaven on earth? I mean, of course you do, but I mean, say it. Say, I believe that we can create heaven on earth.
I believe we can create heaven on earth.
Satan. I love it. Good for you. Are you religious?
No, I'm an atheist.
You're an atheist, okay? So that makes sense. So you believe that people are inherently good?
Absolutely not. They're monsters.
So if people are not inherently good, how is it that we can create heaven on earth?
Because we can genetically engineer our genome.
Well, hold on. If you're an atheist, how can you even make a statement about heaven? What is heaven for an atheist? What is heaven to an atheist?
Like maximal happiness for like as many people as possible. Like, yeah.
But you don't believe in the existence of heaven.
Yeah, I don't believe heaven's a real place, but I think we can create.
You're really confusing me now, because first you said you believe we can create heaven on earth, and now you're telling me you don't believe heaven's a real place.
You don't understand what metaphors are, Mike?
I can't understand if you're engaging in metaphors or if you're just confused as an atheist. I mean, you told me you believe in heaven. I mean, I'm left to imply that a belief in heaven requires a belief in a God. I mean, my goodness, please slow down. So you're an atheist, you don't believe in the existence of heaven, but metaphorically you can conceive of a place where there's a minimal amount of suffering, but not heaven, because let's be clear, even conceptually, even metaphorically, heaven is a place where there is no suffering, where there is no want, where it is absolutely not a zero-sum environment. That is the conception of a infinity, of a utopia, a place where there is no want.
I mean, that's one conception of heaven, but I'm saying we could be something close to that.
Okay, so you believe that the essentially your philosophy here on Trump and Elon, and you worship which one?
I think Elon is good, and I think Trump is bad.
You think Elon is good and Trump is bad? Okay. Well, that kind of leaves you in kind of a quandary here. Who do you think they're working together, or do you think they're, what's going on there?
I mean, during World War II, Stalin worked with Roosevelt, and I thought that Roosevelt was good and Stalin was bad. Like, is this not like a coherent thing to understand?
So they were both bad. There's no such thing. I mean, you say you're an atheist, but you're talking in these childish terms of good and bad. I don't.
Moral realism. I mean, most analytic philosophers are moral realists, so like you don't know what you're talking about.
I certainly know what I'm talking about.
Are you denying that most analytic philosophers are moral realists?
I'm denying your assertion that Elon is good.
Okay.
Okay.
But you said it was childish to discuss moral truth, good and bad. But then I said, when you poll analytic philosophers, like about 70% of them are moral realists, so it's not childish to talk about good and bad. Most of the people that consider these matters most closely do talk in those terms, so it's not childish at all. It's very sensible to talk about in those ways.
We don't need to get into the weeds here. You don't believe in the consistent and uniform enforcement of the law.
I don't think that the law is sacrosanct. I think the law is good.
The law is not sacrosanct. Well, I mean, how can anything be sacrosanct? You don't believe in heaven. You don't believe in God.
Again, do you not understand what metaphors are, my guy?
Oh, everything's a metaphor. What about moral? What? My friend, everything is not a metaphor. Is your life a metaphor?
No.
Is good a metaphor?
No.
It can be. I mean, this is ridiculous. You sound like an atheist. You sound like a pathetic, lost atheist who can equivocate and argue about everything and know nothing.
So, sometimes language uses metaphor. I have some books for you if you want to learn about metaphors. Like George Lakoff, you should just read his books on metaphor. It's very
Is George Lakoff good? Is George Lakoff good? Is he good? Is he a good metaphor guy?
Are you asking if he's morally good, or are you saying what are you asking me with that question?
You see how frustrating and pointless it is to have a conversation if you're going to be unpacking things like that. Well, I bet you and Jordan Peterson love to masturbate watching one another, don't you?
Yeah, I mean,
where do you think I thought? See, because you have to ask yourself, well, what do you mean by he? Because there's a lot that goes. I mean, just shut the fuck up, get out of here, Christ Almighty.
One of the problems
is the most intellectually disingenuous people. Disingenuous. That's so fucking disingenuous.
When you're smart, you make distinctions between things. That's like a part of intelligence.
You are misattributing. He's probably Sam Harris fan.
What's that? You think? I'm aware. Like
Not Peterson, Harris.
Oh, Sam Harris. Yeah.
Yes. Like, I think the rule of law is important.
I wouldn't have cared if Hunter Biden had the bodies of 12-year-old boys in his cellar. The right thing to do was to vote for Joseph Biden. Yeah, that went over well. That was a metaphor, you fucking idiots. That was a metaphor. I should not have been taken literally when I said I would not have cared in a hypothetical scenario if the son of the president had murdered young boys and buried them in his cellar. That was a fucking metaphor.
I never said I liked Sam Harris, you fucking retard. What the hell is this conversation?
Oh, I think we know exactly what you like.
What do I like?
Well,
White eyeliner.
Baby Peterson.
White eyeliner in your romper.
I hope you can tell you're getting wrecked in this debate.
Sam, I'm absolutely getting wrecked. Could you help me understand how is Elon good? You said he recognizes the threat that artificial intelligence poses to the species. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
That's one of the things. That's one of the 5 things I said, yeah.
Okay, now, and I don't want you to start engaging in these false dilemmas, okay? I don't want you to start straw manning. I don't want you to start going to these ridiculous extremes. But is it fair to say that Elon Musk is a liar?
I mean, he has lied in the past, yeah.
I mean, has he made it a pattern to lie?
I don't know if Trump lies much more than Elon Musk lies.
Oh, okay. Here we go with the fall. Okay, look, I'm not asking.
I'm talking about degrees of things. When you want information about my beliefs about things, I should give you like ranges of what things I'm comparing.
I just asked, is it a pattern? Is it a pattern? Is there a pattern?
Yes, he's lying.
I mean, has he lied? He lied in the present.
I mean, do I think he's lying right now? No. Like at this moment, no.
How do you determine when he's lying and when he's not?
I mean, how do you tell when anyone like? I assume that you've lied in the past. I don't know if that means that like you are a liar and I can always discount everything you say because you like one time told a woman that she looks good in that dress. Like,
well, see, there you go. Now who's talking about degrees, right? Let's understand that lying about whether or not your wife looks fat in a dress is completely different than lying to millions of people about something, right? Let's keep the scope here. So Elon Musk, in his position, with his authority and his wealth, he's operating on a much higher degree than me in my interpersonal relationship with my partner, asking a question about how clothing makes her look, right? We can agree.
Yeah, the degrees of lying. That's kind of why I was trying to explain what I thought.
Yeah, you're needlessly becoming very, hey, solely. You watch your fucking mouth. I am not a chud. I don't know what that means. I'm a giga Chad, motherfucker.
Is your argument just that when he says he cares about AI, he doesn't care about AI because he's a liar? Is that the like?
No, that's not where you're going with this. No, that's not where I'm going with this. It's not where I'm going with this. Not at all. Not at all where I'm going with this. So, you say Elon Musk has lied in the past.
Yeah.
Okay. And I asked you, you said, is he lying in the present?
And I said, I don't know what that means. I don't think
okay.
In a second.
And I asked you, okay, well, what is the criteria that you're using to establish when he is or is not lying? Because contrary to your opinion, my wife knows when I'm lying about whether or not she looks fat and this, that, or the other. Right?
I think you like
wait, hold on. I've got something much more important to address. Sully Sullivan from Google AI. The acronym CHUD stands for Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dweller. Oh, I like that. It is the title of a 1984 horror movie and the name of the fictional creatures of the film. Well, I don't think I might. Yeah, a cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller.
That sounds like you.
Oh, pass. Okay, well, thank you for that. So I'm asking you, what is the criteria that you're going to use, right? Now, we don't need to argue about my interpersonal relationships and about your own interpersonal relationships and whether or not you know when someone's lying to you or they don't. It is important, though, honey, are you telling me that my profile is triggering? Is it? I haven't gotten a lot of, Eli. Oh, well, forget it. We don't need to get into the weeds there. Who? Honey, part 2. There's someone in chat. Oh, easy. There's someone in chat. They're not here anymore. Check this out.
That's what I heard. Your Instagram page is the first solution. The first solution is your Instagram tag. It's like that.
Let's go, Sam. Let's fucking go. You're taking step 1 on a wonderful journey, and I know that we will meet glorious victory on the battlefield.
Holocaust style is so important that it's like your Instagram handle. Like,
do you think that the first solution is Holocaust denial? That was the final solution.
Buddy, the Jews are out to get you, buddy.
Well, I don't know. We kind of are. Well, you know, look at that. Direct incontrovertible testimony to the contrary.
I mean, well, two Jews disagree here, so, you gotta be agnostic at best.
Yeah, you're not Jewish. Look, you're not Jewish. You're not Jewish. You're a goy. You're a goy.
We Jews disagree a lot. That's a fact.
Yeah, there are too many Jews, if that's true.
You know, there's not too many Jews, not enough photographs. Not enough. Anyways. So the Holocaust denial doesn't have anything to do with the first solution.
Boring conversation about Jews again. I want to switch gears. I wanted to comment about the supremacy of law versus the supremacy of basically might and outcome. I want to propose that the law is kind of not important when it is applied in a population where there is not agreement on values.
Yeah, you don't need an arbiter when you're working together and you have a shared conception of what is good.
So you do need an arbiter.
No, you don't need an arbiter. Okay, well, let me argue this. The more consonant your beliefs, your values, the more homogenous the population, the less you need an arbiter and the less you need law, explicit law, hierarchical law. The more you can rely on social mores, customs, and other social tools that are not explicit or hierarchically established. So when I'm in a group of individuals and we're trying to accomplish a task, and we all want the task to be accomplished, really interestingly enough, I just watched a very, very touching video of the basically the German militia setting up a defense of Königsberg, and you can see that there's people of all ranks, who are helping move these guns into their positions to prepare to defend the city, and so they're all sharing. But that's a bad example. But when I'm working to achieve something, I don't need there to be a law that says, hey, you need to make your bed in the morning when you get up, and you need to use the restroom, you need to brush your teeth before you come to the table to eat breakfast. I don't need to have a law that says that if everyone is interested in the same objective, everyone is getting up, they all have the same attitude. I don't need a hierarchical law to impose that on people. Everybody wants the same thing. I don't need to say everybody. There doesn't need to be a law that says you need to breathe, but there isn't a law that says you need to drink water. There doesn't have to be, because if you want,
we're talking past each other. We're talking about two different things. We're talking about two different things. My point is not about I agree that if everyone wants the same thing, you don't need law. Obviously. People in their nation wants kind of somewhat different things inside a moral community, right? So in that moral community, you still need law to adjudicate between different interests and conflicts and whatever. My point is though, if you have two moral communities, you cannot unify them with a single set of laws. It's completely pointless. You basically will need some sort of dictatorship to apply this law to two communities that completely do not agree with the values of each other.
Well, we need to be, that's immaterial without Sam establishing his position on the United States of America, what it is, what it ought to be, where it derives its value, whether, and it sounds like Sam is saying, the consistent uniform enforcement of the law is not an element, or at least it's not an important or essential element. In fact, it's kind of something that can be taken or left as is necessary, but there is some other guiding principle, hierarchy, structure, or current that is essentially responsible for our might, power, and success.
Yes, but again, you and Sam, you do not inhabit the same moral community. So you discussing laws is very much talking past each other. Sam will be able to agree on the importance of the law.
Ellie, the issue with Sam is that he is essentially extremely sensitive about how he is perceived. And
he has many people surrounding him that kind of align with his views and part of his moral community. And with them, he will be able to come to agreement about laws. And you will be able to come to agreement about laws with people in your moral community. And you will see eye to eye.
Talk about talking past me. Like, you think you need to tell me this. You don't need to tell me this. It's very much understood. I completely understand that me and my people who have the same objectives don't need a law to tell us how to act. I'm telling you that.
No, you do.
The reason I advocate for and insist on as a prerequisite for cooperation, the consistent and uniform enforcement of the law as it is written, is because I have no other grounds to trust that we have shared interests, and I refuse to accept that you will do the right thing, because I know that when push comes to shove, you are a bunch of greedy, selfish, fuckstick, stupid animals who will push an old lady out of the way if you think you're going to be the first one on the elevator. You fucking pigs. I know you. I've seen your hearts. Right? You don't know what it's like to be starving. You don't know what it's like to be completely impoverished, and you say you put on these ideas like, we don't need a consistent uniform enforcement of the law. Yes, I assure you, no civilization has ever existed without a consistent and uniform enforcement of the law. And the process of empire's decline and decay is that the population at large begins to recognize that they're becoming larger and larger and deriving no benefit from continuing to maintain obedience to and subservience to a system of laws that is not consistently and uniformly enforced, and thus there is a revolution and a restoration of a state of affairs where there is a more consistent and uniform application, or at least a good faith attempt by all observable political entities acting with that authority.
God, you're so long-winded.
I won't go there.
Well, one second.
Jesus Christ.
How many?
Yeah, rule of law is important. Obviously, rule of law is important. It's just not the most important thing. Jesus Christ.
Wait. 1 second. Let's clarify. How many moral communities do you recognize in America, like major moral communities?
I didn't touch it. I did nothing.
You should have.
I'm not getting anything. I'm not getting nothing. I'm getting
You know what I'm talking about.
I give and I give and I give and I give and I get nothing.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Okay, I need to bail, but I don't want an answer. How many moral communities do you recognize in America? The major ones.
What's the score, guys? What's the score? And I'm not talking about the Eagles and the Chiefs.
40 to 22.
Yeah, 40. Who's 40?
I don't think it's you anymore.
Huh?
I'm the Eagles.
I'm the Eagles.
All right.
Yeah,
that's how you want to be. That's how you want to be.
Hello.
That's how you want to be. Okay.
Yeah, hello. You know the situation.
Very good.
Here, I'll send you from the other side one. I'm sorry. I was just like, I have to be careful.
I know. All right. Well,
What
is Ellie? What did you want an answer to?
My question.
Communities recognized in the United States.
Hold on.
You specifically, how many moral communities do you recognize? Can you recognize in the United States? That are like
None.
What?
None. There is no moral community in the United States, and I think the election of Donald Trump and the worship of Trump and Musk, both of them together, any of them separately, and it is evidence that there is no real moral.
No, okay, no. Wait. So you misunderstand me. I'm not. You can think that they are amoral communities, but a moral community, they kind of adhere to some form of moralization.
They don't. They're literally. There's no. I mean, to conceive of a moral underpinning, to conceive of a morality like that, you're asking. You're saying conceptualize a group of individuals who are bound together or sharing a conception of morality. They share a definition of morality. They conceive of them as how many unique. I gotta take this call. I will be back.
Yeah. No, I will not be back. Maybe a bit later. I don't know. Bye. Take care.
Well. That's the right way. That's how you score. That's how the Eagles need to be playing.
I think the Chiefs should do better.
They're trying, but they're waiting to see what the Eagles are going to do.
I mean, we are in a bad season.
It's true. There's definitely some other factors.
Yeah, it's like no thirsty. My mom just came in my room. Oh, shit.
Where's the wave function? This work.
You need help?
I'm trying, yeah. I'm trying to figure it out.
You don't want everything to be recorded? What do you have? Yeah.
Well, then
Maybe Nora and Diego can learn from this.
You're right. You know what? Out of pity and sympathy, considering your current plight, let's go ahead and just let it be recorded.
No, let's not do it. By my standards, I'm not massively yet.
Oh, okay.
Why? Do you know me? Do you know me from before?
Yeah.
Where have we met before?
We met a while back.